two chapters today, and that is The Unbreakable Vow and A Very Frosty Christmas. Everyone's so angry at each other, and no one can get along. No one at all. And sort of the interesting thing is that, again, with this set of chapters, we are not seeing super obviously the war at large. We're not in any great battles like we had at the Department of Mysteries. For the most part, we're in very mundane situations. For the most part. But in these mundane situations, we are actually seeing bits and pieces of how this war is going to be fought at the moment, and that is underground. And we get the feeling that even in these mundane situations, this is how we're actually dealing with things. It's not outright warfare on any level at this point in time. Everyone on both sides, on all sides, never mind trying to divide them into two sides, are just going at their lives in a way that, without outright arguing, they've got this steady psychological warfare going on. Like Hermione suddenly just being like, oh yeah, going with McLaggen. Like, Harry's looking at her like that was a change in just personality. What is going on? And she outright states, of course, that, like, I knew it would piss him off the most. Really, directly, Harry is the only one who is trying to sort of face everything head on. And he's being rejected in these moments. He tries to face both Hermione and Ron head on, and he really is being sort of rejected on both sides. Like, when he face on says, like, you can't mention the fact that you screwed with the keeper tryouts, or Ron's gonna go crazy and we're gonna lose at Quidditch. And Hermione's just like, can edge. Same with the book of the princes. Yeah. What am I supposed to do? With Ron, when he overhears things and he's saying, like, this is what I've overheard, Ron is like, is it really though? Yes. But really with Draco, it is. He goes to both, he ends up talking with Arthur and Lupin about it, and knows right away what their reaction's gonna be, and still tries to face it head on and say, like, nobody's explaining anything to me here. Won't somebody do it? And I find it a little heartbreaking because during this conversation, of course, we've got Warbleck. I am so sorry to the poor Celestina, we'll go by her first name on that one, singing throughout the scenes. So we're actually getting snippets of some of her songs. And in the final moment of rejection of Harry's argument about this, we actually get the lines, and now you've torn it quite apart, I'll thank you to give me back my heart. Like, that's very directly what's happened. Harry has tried to be upfront with people that he trusts about a concern he has, and on every level he's had that concern rejected. And he doesn't know what to do at this point in time. He's not the type of person that can, on a major level, fight psychologically. Even in his sort of his reverse psychology with Ron, it's not done super subtly. He sets it up so that it's going to be pure obvious to Hermione, and he knows how Hermione's going to react. He can manipulate when she reacts, but he can't actually manipulate how she's going to. Same with Ron. He knows Ron will lose confidence if Hermione mentions the fact that she messed with the trial. He isn't used to this complete psychological argument that people are sort of putting to him and saying this is the way things have to be done. That doesn't make sense to him because that is opening the possibility that mistakes will be made and not addressed because they're not out in the open. Only in his extreme personal life does he sort of want that privacy. His considerations of his feelings for Ginny, that he wants to keep private. But in concerns about the war and damage being done and attacks being made, and in this moment we do actually have Draco claiming he has nothing to do with what happened to Kitty Bell. But Severus doesn't seem to think that. Severus seems very suspicious of that. Harry wants to inform people of these things. He wants to have allies in this fight. And all his allies are rejecting him in this moment. Except then, we have Rufus come along. And Rufus's name I'm going to massacre even more than everybody else's. Deep-a-deep-a-boo. Deep-a-deep-a-boo. There we go. Scrimangor? Scrimgore? We're gonna call him Rufus. The Minister for Magic, at this point in time, comes along and Harry calls him out on all the concerns he has, all of this underground warfare that he's concerned about. He calls Rufus out. Like, very directly. He talks until the point that he figures out, like, oh, no, you want me to look like I'm helping the Ministry. But if I did that, that means it looks like I support what the Ministry's doing. Rufus is going, that's sort of the... Except I don't. You're making some choices that are bad choices. And he lays out the fact that we seem to have this dichotomy with the Ministry of either they're not doing anything, or they've just gone fanatic, and it doesn't matter if they take out innocents along with the guilty. And that's a problem, because again, if a lot of this is being done psychologically and underground, there's not going to be people to call them on their bullshit. So Harry's saying, like, no. Even when Rufus is using, like, really sort of slimy underground temptations, now we can, smooth the way for you to be an Aurora. Screw you. Screw you. In a lot of ways, that's even worse than something like Hermione taking McLaggen just to piss Ron off. Because that is literally, like, in both one way bribing somebody, and the other way still somehow threatening their situation because, oh, I recognize this is what you want. I can help you get it. At the same time, there is the concern there, the unspoken threat of, and if you don't help me, that's not a thing you're ever going to be able to get. Like, it's scary and it's slimy, and it's this moment where they're walking around the garden and Harry just holds up his hand with "I must not tell lies" and says, no. You think after all of this that I'm just gonna go underground? No. I'll go call you on your bullshit here and now. And that's exactly what he does. Harry is not the type of person who can do downright underground psychological warfare. If he's going to face somebody, he's going to figure out who he needs to face, and then he's going to face them head on. And there are concerns about that. Of course, everyone calls it Harry's saving people thing. It's his heroic thing. But it also means that he's not going to get to the point where he's recognizably scapegoating somebody. He has his suspicions, and he's collecting evidence for those suspicions against both Draco and Snape. But he's not the type of person who's gonna, like, lock one in a closet and say, problem solved, and then get evidence that oh, they're innocent. Let's just leave them in the closet. Like, that's not something he's gonna do. Because for him, it's wrong. We're gonna see him have to work in a relatively underground situation moving forward. Most notably, of course, in Deathly Hallows, which for the majority of it is not happening in one single space. We're getting them moving around, trying to subvert what has become the Voldemort's ministry. And even then, Harry very directly is sort of like, there are limits to what we do. And it really is that damage to innocent people. That's got to be the line that we draw somewhere. It's a little hard because we want to win this war. But it comes back again to ends and means. Is it worth it to sacrifice your moral decisions in order to win this? Right now, right here, Harry's saying no. You drew a line in the sand, and yeah, I'm drawing one too. I'm not willing to do this because you're wrong in this situation. And I mean, he has Dumbledore that he can also lean on that one. He's gonna have to learn to stand on his own soon. And hopefully he can keep some of his moral character without losing this war. I'm gonna keep reading, and I hope you do too. See you next time.